All right, people, welcome back to the coach's desk. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. And we have a special guest on the show this afternoon. Yes, we definitely have a special guest because we want to clear up some nuances and some stuff that are misconstrued, misunderstood where the whereabout rule violation is concerned. So we have the great Dr. Paul Wright. I can say my rabbi from my days at college. He is here in studio and he'll be sharing with us some of the things that we need to know where this rule is concerned. Doc, welcome to the show.
Always good to be on your program and welcome to everybody else.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc, for accepting the invitation to be here. But the latest incident with world record holder Toby Amerson basically would have spurred a lot of people talking about this whereabout rule violation, right? And before we get into her situation and ask the questions pertaining to her, I want you to give us a backdrop on this sort of ruling where the WADA code is concerned, or the AIU situation.
All right. First of all, let me explain that every athlete is looking for the edge, that little oomph that is going to make them perform better than every other athlete. It can be a training program, it can be a diet, it can be a coach, it can be equipment that you lose. Everybody is looking for that little edge. However, in their enthusiasm to find that edge, some people use methods that might give them an added advantage or even affect their health in the long term. And therefore, it is the duty of doctors in the Sports Medicine Association in WADA and in the IOC to set rules that are going to reduce the possibility of people taking substances that are detrimental to their health in the long term or giving them an unfair advantage in competition. So we have drug testing. Now, drug testing is to detect some of the methods that are the methods and substances that can be used to give you this unfair advantage and to impair your health in the long term. And what is important is that the athletes must know a list of these drugs, a list of these methods, and what to do in order not to form, to get a foul of these rules and therefore risk disqualification.
So,
So we
Doc, let
have
me
drug
let me
testing.
interject and ask you a question there, Doc.
Yeah, man.
So it is not the so you have some athletes basically leave up this part of the business to their agent or their manager or somebody that they trust. That should not be the case. The athletes should be au fait with the rules, so that they can best able to go around it or to basically stay within the confines of the rules.
We have several instances of people who leave in this thing to their agents and get in trouble. The most famous one is Andre Russell, who left it to his agent to do his whereabouts listing, and his agent was his former girlfriend. And after that lady and him had some problems, he got into problems because what she was supposed to do, she wasn't doing anymore, and he ran afoul of the law. So you are going to be drug tested if you get in a testing pool. And the people who are in the testing pool for any country or around the world are those in the top echelons of their sport and are going to be those that are going to be competing internationally. In Jamaica, we have the top people in every sport. When I was in drug testing, it was 9 sports that we had to do drug testing in, and we had seminars where we give the athletes an opportunity to understand the rules. You are going to be drug tested at any international competition that you're going to be at. You can be drug tested if you come in the first 3. You can be drug tested randomly, but once you're in competition, you're subject to drug testing. Now, you're also subject to drug testing any day, 365 days to 24 hours a day. However, the athlete has the opportunity every 3 months to list the times when he will be available for drug testing. That time is a 1-hour window, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, 31 days a month, and every month of the year. You just list that time that you must be available. That must be posted on the website of WADA or your own anti-doping agency in the month, every 3 months in advance. However, if you say that on the 4th of August, I am going to be at my home between 7 and 8 in the morning, and on the 2nd of August, you are going to be overseas for a funeral or you have something to do and you can't be at that address, you just write in to the whereabouts people and tell them that I won't be at that address anymore on that morning. I'll be in Timbuktu at 9 o'clock at this hotel, or I'll be in London at my mother's home at 35 Beeston Street, or whatever it is. But you have to give them an opportunity to find you anywhere in the world you are for that 1 hour window that you had listed on that program in the 3 months in advance. So if on the 21st of July, I say that I'm going to be at the National Stadium training between 7 and 8 a.m., the drug tester can turn up there between hours of 7, 8 a.m., and you have to be there. If he turns up at the path to have you drug tested and you are not there, you are listed as missing a whereabouts violation. And you are contacted by the anti-doping authority and said you were supposed to be at the stadium between 7 and 8 on Monday morning. We went there and you were not there. You are warned. If you miss three tests in the next 12 months, 3 tests in 12 months, you are going to be guilty of a doping violation and subject to a hearing with the possibility of being banned. So the next time you say on Thursday, I'm going to be at between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. at the National Arena. I'll be training. And the drug tester turns up there between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Thursday, and you are not there, you are gotten in touch immediately, either by email or phone or by somebody coming to where you are if you live in the jurisdiction. This is your second missed test, a warning. You are then reminded that 3 missed tests in a 12-month period, you are going to be facing an arbitration hearing, and the possibility of you being banned from competition is very real. Now, what athletes don't seem to understand that after you miss the second test and you are informed, the third test can be 24 hours later. The third test can be 2 months later. The third test can be 6 months later.
Okay,
But you have
okay.
been warned in writing and personally that this is your second mistest. And the third mistest is going to create a problem where you have to go before an independent panel and explain why you have missed 3 consecutive tests or 3 tests that necessary consecutively in a 12-month period without explanation or without giving the arbitration, the drug testing authority, a valid reason why you are not there. So when you miss the third test, you know that you are now in serious trouble. You have got to go to a independent panel, explain to this panel what is going on, and in some jurisdictions you are banned until you turn up at this panel to give your side of the story, and in some jurisdictions they make arrangements for you to get there as fast as possible to explain why in a 12-month period you have missed 3 drug testing appointments in times that you said that you would be there. One of the interesting things, about drug testing is that we get information all the time about athletes that are, let us say, questionable. And a drug tester might turn up outside of your whereabouts form to say that you're there. Let me give you an example. There's an athlete that shall be nameless who was 78 a.m. every morning, 7 days a week. So on Monday morning, he was 78 a.m. And on Tuesday, it was 9 to 10 p.m., which was most odd. So on Wednesday, on Tuesday at 7 to 9 a.m., the drug tester turned up. He said, I'm not on the whereabouts form here. I'm not supposed to be here. But the drug tester can turn up anywhere, anytime, and ask you for a sample. He had to produce the sample because the drug tester was there and saw him. And he saw the drug tester, submitted to the drug sample, and he was positive because he needed that 24-hour window in order to get himself clear of the substance that he
Right.
was taking.
Yes,
But
yes.
if you turn up unannounced at an address and the athlete is not there, then it is the drug tester who is now at fault. And the drug testing is an expensive business. You have to have an observer, you have to have driver, you have to have equipment, you have to have everything. And that is a loss for the drug testing authorities. So, but the athlete has no problems about that because he never said he will be at the place when you'll be there. It is when you say you have listed up an appointment, you have listed a time, and the drug tester reaches there and waits 1 hour. And if you are not there at the appointed time, it's a mistest, 3 mistests in a 12-month period, and you're guilty of a doping rule violation. And the sanctions are different. In different jurisdictions, it can be a month, 3 months, it can be 5 years. It depends on what happens in the hearing.
Should the drug tester call the athletes and said, "Doctor, I am at your location"? Is that acceptable, or should that be done?
That is a very, very interesting question. Uh, in my time, it was done because there are times when the person who is going to be tested either went out somewhere and is delayed coming back because of traffic or anything, and you have a contact number for them and just say, you remember you said that you'd be at ABC at 8 o'clock. I am here now at 7:30. I'm on my way, doctor. I went to see my sick mother and thing, but I'm coming back before 8 o'clock. If he's not there by 8 o'clock, then the drug tester leaves and he's guilty of a violation. But you always try your best to accommodate these athletes because you never know what can happen that can change the time in which they become available. And something might have come up and they had to make an emergency move. They had to go the bathroom where they weren't working. They went to another bathroom. There are a lot of possibilities. And so you try as best to accommodate the athlete in the whereabouts form, in the whereabouts what they said they were to be. But there are some jurisdictions where they really ban the drug tester from trying to help the athlete by calling them and saying that I am here, where are you?
Okay. This rule, doc, seems to be causing a whole lot of problems since late,
Yes.
and it is basically telling the fans of track and field, the enthusiasts of track and field, that athletes are hiding stuff. Because of course, you just mentioned a case where the athlete switched the time, and it's an indication that the athlete might be taking something, and and because of that, they try to avoid the test. Is that a case? Because you initially said that every athlete seek an advantage when they are doing this sport, track and field. Is it
Yeah.
that you believe that more and more athletes are trying to beat the system? Hence the reason why a lot of this whereabout violation cases arising.
Whereabouts violation, in my experience, are the reasons are manifold. One is just arrogance. I tell you that in August 4th I will be displaced, and on the 2nd of August, one wasn't feeling well, so me went somewhere else, and me just forget to tell you. That happens all the time, but it can't happen 3 times in a month. You must be there or thereabouts, or explain to the drug testing person that I listed on my whereabouts form 2 days before that I'll be there. I cannot be at that address. Anything. I have been selected to play cricket in Australia. I am leaving today, but I'm going to Adelaide in Australia, and at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, I'll be at the Hotel Olympia in Adelaide, and you might get in touch with the drug testing people in Australia, and because of cooperation, they could drug test me at that point. So you always give the drug testing authority an opportunity to find you, because there are times athletes are targeted either based on information that the drug testing authority has, or a very strange occurrence in the distance or time that you're doing in the track and field. If you're a 13-second hurdler and all of a sudden you start doing 12-7, 12-8, you're going to attract attention. And you are going to be on a whereabouts violation. They're going to be looking for things like you. You're going to be subject to out of competition, unannounced drug testing. You're going to be subjected to all of these things, because what we want to do is to keep the athletes on their toes, to understand that you cannot do anything that is out of control. And let me tell you something. After the Sydney Olympics, most of these restrictive rules that you see about drug testing were suggested and implemented on the assistance of athletes. They became so fed up of what was going on in athletics and drug testing because of an incident in the Sydney Olympics where the authorities in Sydney got a substance from a coach and saying this is what the athletes are on. When they run the substance through the computers, a computer cannot find a substance if it does not know it. And therefore, the substance in the chemical of the substance was now put in the computer. And what they did was they tested the athletes who were drug tested during the Sydney Olympics after the Olympics. In other words, these athletes had passed drug tests during the Olympics and were tested negative. When they used this substance in the computer on the same samples after the Olympics, they found that 34% of them were positive. And after meetings with athletes and other things, they decided that they could keep samples for 4 years. Because every now and again we get information about materials and our testing substances that are used that we don't know, that give you an unfair advantage. And once we find out, get that substance, put it in the computer, you will now test positive for it. So we can test you back again 4 years later, as happened to Nesta Carter. Long after he
Right.
tested negative, he was tested positive years later,
Yes.
lost his gold medal, and the great Usain Bolt had to give up one of his gold medals.
Yes.
So these rules are not only brought about by drug testing authorities on their own. It is in conjunction with athletes who are just simply fed up with people cheating, using methods and sample and things that are not allowed to get away and to get gold medals and kudos and money. Because when you win these big events and so on, you are now subject to increased earnings. And they just think it is unfair and they help the drug testing people and find them.
Right. Doc, do you think that athletics in general, track and field, is more targeted than any other sport?
I would think so. There's a sport in Jamaica who drug tests their participants, and their participants, whenever you want to be drug tested, please come in. No, they have never had a test at that one of their participants test negative, test positive. Of course, that is just a fool rule. But unless you're serious about eliminating cheats from the game, then you tend to be more targeted. And some of these results that we are seeing, some of the distances, some of the times, real boggle the imagination when you look at how people improve over time with equipment and surfaces and so on, and even training methods. Sometimes, you see a man doing 10-4 and then him run 9-6. You say to yourself, no, sir, this one I need to find out exactly what is going on. And that person is going to be targeted.
Right. Um, I want you to tell the viewers and the listeners from a physiological point of view what really happened to the body when the athletes take these substances.
The first thing is you heal faster. There are substances that help the human body to heal faster. There are substances that help it to utilize oxygen for a longer period of time. And there are substances that delay the formation of lactic acid. That is some of the things that are produced when you are exhausted, that make us run slower or not be able to compete as best. So there are a lot of things that can assist you that are illegal and can have serious effects on your life in the long run. Because as you know, there are several athletes that, when you look at their lifespan, if they're dying in the 20s, the 30s, and these are people who are paid to keep fit. So these are the fittest of the fit, and they just drop down dead. And when you go back into their history, you can see where, you look at the postmortem of the heart was 3 times normal. When everybody else in that age group, it was not. You know that they were doing something that gave them an unfair advantage while they were alive. And it is because of these things that they did during their lifetime that has called their early demise.
Yeah, man. In terms of the Christopher Taylor's situation, what is your take on it?
Remind me about Chris Taylor now, because he's one of those mistest people.
Yes. The tester was there with him, went to the airport. He had to catch a flight, and apparently the tester said that
He
he
never
could
passed
leave.
the urine.
Yeah,
Okay. But
allegedly.
what I understood from that is that
Hmm.
the tester found him at the whereabouts farm where he was supposed to be. Okay? But he had a flight to catch. The tester, once the tester sees you and makes eye with you and contact, I am a drug tester and I've come for the sample. You must give the sample. The moment you do not give the sample, you are guilty of a doping violation. Now, the tester bent backwards and traveled with him to the airport in order to get the sample. And that sample, I think, at the time was urine. But once the tester makes eye contact with you and identifies himself as a drug tester, you cannot leave his vision until you have given him the blood sample. So, travel together to the airport, go through the immigration, go through everything. Still, I need the sample. Now, if you don't give the sample and go on the plane, you are guilty of a violation.
And
Because
that would have been different from missing a test, because
he missed
once
the test
contact
because
is made,
no, he missed the test. He never gave the sample.
right.
Once,
So that's
once
a
the drug
different
tester
thing.
sees you, you have to give the sample. One morning, I went to a athlete's place where he was. Okay, 6:30 in the morning. Okay, knocked on the door, nobody's answering. Okay, these windows have blinds. You see the blind open and close. Just the little crack, so somebody is there. So you tell one of the driver to stay at the front, and I go around the back. And around the back, I see him coming over a fence. I said, "What happened, man?" I said, "Oh, I was going to pass urine." I said, "No, no, pilot, not inside. What are you doing outside? Come back inside and pass the urine." Because once I see you, you have to be tested. Another time, I turned up at the stadium for a training session. And the car that I was using is well known. As the car came around the corner, the athlete sprinted away over the fence, down Mountain View Avenue, and gone. Now, I never saw him face to face to identify myself as a drug tester. That is now just a I can't say I
That
must
is
get
a
the sample.
mistake.
That is just a mistake.
That's a
Okay?
mistake. Right.
That's a mistake. And he has now two other more opportunities for the next 12-month period in order to give a sample when I arrive at that time. But they run
At that
away, they
time.
do all sorts of things, to escape.
Okay. So in essentially, I'm getting that, like you said initially when you came on, that the athletes basically do things to gain an advantage,
Yes, man.
and we might not know what they are doing. However, once they try to avoid the test, it is leading towards that.
That
So
that that is the That is the problem. And but remember, like in baseball, 3 strikes and you are out. You have 3 opportunities to make sure that you do not do that. The whereabouts form is important. And let me remind athletes and remind listeners of this. You can change the time. If you say the time is 8 o'clock on Monday morning and Saturday night, you find that you cannot be where you say you're going to be at 8 o'clock on Monday morning. You just go on the website and change the venue for the time that you are going to be available on that 24-hour period.
so it is
It-
that
it-
flexible.
yes, it is like you can change your time 24 hours before. Because there are many times we are drug testing people that we say, okay, he's going to be at X at Monday morning. You go for the sample, you get the team together. When you look at the form, when you look at the computer, you see where you change the address. He wouldn't be there and he was not going to be in Mobile. So you either go to Mobile and test him or wait another day. This time we went to Mobile. So this is how it is. But you have to know, how that you have an advantage. You can change the time. You can make adjustments. Just do it in time. Don't be arrogant and say, boy, you know I couldn't be there because you see me playing cricket in Australia, as what happened to a patient that had a
Yeah,
mid test. You
yeah.
know I play for the team, and I was in Australia. Come in where you watch cricket, so you can turn up and you at 8 o'clock Monday morning where you know some in Australia. But on the website. You
That
said
was
you're
the
going to
address.
be in Manning's Hill at 8 o'clock on Monday morning. It's no business if you want to go astray. It's your business. Just change it. Just change it.
So
All
if they
right?
change it outside the country, you'd have to get there, or you
No,
just
no, no, no. What we have arrangement with other drug testing authorities. We say that this one is a targeted athlete. Could you do the test on our behalf for you? And there may be reciprocity in reimbursing the. It's an expensive thing, drug testing, It's an expensive thing because you have to take the sample and send the sample to an accredited lab. Our accredited lab in Jamaica is in Canada, and you have to send it by ear. Okay, and you just ask the Australian people to send it to their accredited lab, and they will do it most of the time because there is a cooperation between drug testing authorities worldwide that is in the only interest in fair competition. That's what we're looking forward to.
right. And most times the athletes that are mostly tested are the top 8 athletes in the world. Is that so?
That is no doubt about it. Uh, Usain Bolt, we used to drug test him often, and he used to say, "Doc, you know that last week I was in Germany and them drug test me. What happened to you this morning?" I said, you see it? Once you leave the island and go to somewhere else, the moment you come back, we're coming for you. Him say, boy, I can know it. The most drug tested athlete in my time was Usain Bolt. Him couldn't move without a sample being taken from him because nobody, and this is a fact, nobody believed that Usain Bolt was clean except Usain Bolt and the drug testers worldwide.
Yes, because a lot of even other countries, persons from other countries believe that
Oh,
he's on
yes.
something.
Oh,
But
he used to
once the
preach
drug
that.
testers do the test and nothing is there,
Yeah.
then it can be a claim that is clean.
Yeah,
Now,
man.
Doc, the case in point is the world record holder in the 100-meter hurdles, Toby Amerson. She indicated that she was charged because she missed 3 drug tests.
In a
Not
12-month
only that,
period.
right, in a 12-month period, but the critical line that I see in that statement from her is that she was tested within 3 days before the third missed test.
Yes, man. That's what I keep saying. You can't get tested before the end.
Explain that to the viewers.
If the testing authorities believe that you are onto something that is giving you an unfair advantage, they can drug test you anytime they feel like. They drug test you on Monday morning in the whereabouts form, and they drug test you on Tuesday out of competition unannounced. If they find you and can see you face to face, I am a drug test and I've come for another sample, but I give one yesterday. It does not matter. I am here, I'm the drug tester, and I need a sample. You have to give it. If it is outside of the whereabouts form, then that is administered as a serious violation. But if it's during the whereabouts time, even if it is one you get 3 days before and you do not do it, you have missed that test, and that is a possible violation. Once the drug tester sees you, identifies himself, and requests a sample, there is no bobbing, weaving, dipping, ducking, or sliding. You have to give the sample.
But Doc, in her case, for example, she missed 2 tests, right? And
Yes,
the third test would have been on the 31st of December to complete the calendar year.
yes,
But they did it 3 days after. She
yes.
still missed a test.
Still miss a test.
So why
It's,
did they test her after?
it could be that she's a targeted athlete. That she's a targeted athlete, and they have a suspicion. Okay? So it doesn't matter how many times they test you, there's a suspicion. Also, there's a blood form that you do that they can look at the blood form and do some blood test results and see that there's an abnormality in your hemoglobin or the amount of red cells that you're producing, and they therefore to do another one in a quick succession in order to find out if this is a normal a variant of your body or this is something that is manufactured by an external substance. So it doesn't matter. I can drug test it 2 times in 2 days. Once I see you and ask for a sample, you have to give the sample.
So in Toby's case, then Doc, she said that she will fight it
Yes,
with her
there,
with
there's
her
a
three
there's an
panel
opportunity.
arbitrator. Huh?
There's an opportunity. You go before an independent panel,
Mm-hmm.
and then the independent panel will listen to her story and her legal representatives. They listen to the story of the drug testing authority and the legal representative of the drug testing authority, and they make a decision. That decision can be appealed by the athlete if it is unfavorable, or the drug testing organization if it is unfavorable to the
To
court of
them.
arbitration. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of ways to make sure that justice is served.
Is served,
Nobody.
right.
You see, one of the things we must get away from, that people are trying to get you. Or them don't like me because I'm black, or because I come from Africa, or I
But
come
but
from Jamaica,
but
and we
she's
made
the
it
world
white them
record
with it.
holder.
Nonsense.
She's the world
Nonsense.
record holder, number one, quote unquote, in the event. So like
Yes.
Usain Bolt, he was always tested because he's the number one in the
Yes,
sport.
yes,
So
yes.
I don't know. And if you miss two already, why you cause yourself to
To be
miss
with that
a
third
third
time.
one?
I tell you about the second time. After the first time, we send email and we send messages. Okay, you can say you don't get the email, or it went to what them call it trash or something. And
Junk
where
mail.
emails can go. The
Junk mail.
second one, you are contacted personally, because the third one, you are dead to the to the authorities. All right. Only the arbitration can help you now. Where you go, you still have an opportunity, to be let off. Just go with your representative and give an explanation as to what happened. And one in a million, you'll get away.
But in her case, World Championship is around the corner. So now is July and World Championship it starts just over mid
27?
August.
Yeah, mid-August. Sir.
So on how it looks for her, I am wondering if it's a 90% chance that she will miss defending her
I think
title.
really higher than 90% that she'll miss the World Championships.
You
Because
put
what
it
they
higher.
usually do is ask for an early appointment with an arbitration. And that can get expensive. Because you have to get together a legal team. The authorities have to get together their legal team and find the independent authorities. Usually, the independent authorities are named every year. They change them. That have nothing to do with the doping authority and nothing to do with the athlete and her entourage. An independent group of specialists and experts who then listen to both cases and make a decision. So there is not must bound compound miss the players, but there is an opportunity. It's just how fast they can get the teams together to listen to her plea, as it were.
Okay. But this again, Doc. It are the athletes too negligent or are they really hiding something? Toby also indicated that she's clean, which most athletes are going to say that they are clean. So I don't know. This is getting too much. The rule seems simple, but yet still the athletes are missing it. You can't get any. It seems as if Doc is frozen.
Up a while ago, I
Yeah,
pressed the
man.
wrong button. I
Okay,
pressed the wrong
okay.
button. Yes, every athlete except Tyson Gay. Listen again.
Mm-hmm.
Every athlete except Tyson Gay can't understand where this drug come from. Tyson Gay is the only world athlete that say, yes, I took it. I am wrong. I think every athlete, who me? Use what that drug name again? Never heard of it in my life. How could that get there? I go to church 3 times a week, and my mother is a deaconess. These are the same thing. Everybody is a thing there, but you have an opportunity to explain yourself to an independent panel of experts using your legal expert and the doping authority's legal expert. You hearing me?
Yes, Doc, I'm hearing you.
Okay,
So
good.
it
Yeah,
would
man.
indicate then that based off Toby missing two tests, right? And it came down to this. And based off your explanation, it would have seemed as if she's a targeted athlete. I'm wondering if this had to do anything with the whole Nigerian thing that occurred in recent time. So
That is a good speculation, because there's a whole host of things that have been coming out from that country in particular, about some of their athletes, including some of their doping authorities that have been found to be involved in subterfuge, and therefore these are the things that make independent authorities do drug testing. So even though you're not in Nigeria and you are in Timbuktu or you're in United Kingdom, all the doping authorities are alerted and will do the test based on your whereabouts.
this rule is too easy for the athletes to be missing. It is too easy, and you get an opportunity if you miss one or two to get back the other one in
Yes,
12 months.
and
It is too
and
easy for them to be missing it.
let me tell you my impression: arrogance, arrogance. You test me last week. So me all right. I remember going to a very famous Jamaican athlete 5 o'clock one morning, and the athlete say, "Doctor, something wrong with you. Seriously?" I said, "What?" I say, "Last week in England, them test me, why do you?" I said, "That is English business. This is Jamaica, and we are asking for a sample this morning." And so the athletes, and let me tell you, there is, I can think of only 4 or 5 athletes who are happy to see a drug tester. They don't like it. It's inconvenient. They have to pass urine on the vision of somebody who they don't know. It's not nice. It's not convenient. And very few people like it. Very few people like it. And a lot of people believe that drug testers are some perverts or the other, where they like to do all these things. But it is a part of the job that you have to do it in order to keep the sport clean as possible.
And why Doc says it is inconvenient, the drug tester has to stand and watch the athlete
Yeah.
pass the
Listen
urine.
again. You have to
Because
see
what they
where
say
the
used to
urine is
happen in the
coming from.
past. What they say used to happen in the past, Doc, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that they used to pass the urine, but I understand that the 7-Up used to have the same pH. And
Yeah,
they will replace it with that. And when they
yeah.
are tested, then nothing, they are clean.
That is what is happening. And I tell you how the first time drug testers found out that this was happening. This athlete was tested, and the drug tester saw the urine look like it was coming from the place in the area where the urine supposed to come from. Okay, and it went to the lab for the testing. Okay, the lab testers, one of the testers, had his girlfriend tested positive for pregnancy, right? And he believes that the testing strip was at fault. So he took the testing strip, the urine from this male athlete, just to test what happened, and it come back positive for pregnancy. That is when they found out that the urine did not come from a male athlete, even though the male athlete appeared to pass the urine. So when they did the examination, the male athlete had a compressible thing with the urine in it, a tube attached to that down between his testicles and taped to the bottom of his penis, where he squeezed with his bottom, the urine came out, and it appeared as if it was coming from his penis, when it was not. It was urine already collected from his girlfriend and kept in a tube, in a little crucible that was held between his buttocks. So he just squeezed the buttocks and the urine come out, and voila, you have given urine on this vision, and you're supposed to pass the test. So there are a lot of ways to do this thing to trick people.
So
And we
hence
have
the
to be
reason.
aware of all of those.
So hence the reason why, if they go through all of that, they miss the test. Then we, the fans, and other persons who love track and field and love the sport, can say that, or it is leading down to the part that there's something to hide.
Must be something to hide because, as I explained to you, the different opportunities you have in order to make sure that this don't happen to you again. Three tests in a 12-month period. It can only be arrogance or don't care.
Well, each each to his own negligence,
Yeah.
and they have to deal with the consequence that come. So you take up a profession, and you know that is what it entails, the rules and regulations. Then they have to ensure that they follow or abide by it. And like you said, the rule is as simple as it is. If you're going to move from somewhere else, just simple change it.
That's it. Just change it
Just simple
24 hours
change it.
ahead
So
and give
if
the
you,
authorities opportunity to make another arrangement if they were going to target you on that day.
because some will say, no, all right, come test me now, come test me now. But things that they use might or could be able to come out of their system before that time or a day
Yes,
after, which is
yes,
very easy.
and that is why if you notice the whereabouts times, that is how I caught a very a Jamaican athlete. It was 7 a.m., 7 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 p.m. No, 7 a.m. Tuesday morning to 8 p.m. Wednesday night. That window of opportunity, a lot of things can happen to eliminate substances from your body. From your
Yes,
body.
yes, yes,
But if
yes.
you turn up at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning, even though that is not your whereabouts time, and I see you face to face and identify myself, then you have to give me that sample.
But doc, they can so for example you come 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
No, you're supposed to come 8 and you're there from 7.
yes.
Is it a possibility that that athlete would be able to lead you on until after 8 so that whatever is there will be out so that they can do the test and they do the test after?
Now let me tell you why that is such a good question. Happens regularly. Happens regularly. The time is 7 to 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock you go there and say, boy, forget I just passed some urine. And you know they're gonna take 2 hours or more before you get more urine. And it's 8 o'clock is my time. And you know what the doctor says? Not a problem, fine, sir. Wherever you go, there will I be. You have your route and Naomi. Where you go, I will go also until I get the urine. All right. And then I just sit down there with them. This time it was on 8:45. I got the urine sample. All right. But they do all these sort of things. They tell you all these sort of things. There was another athlete who told me the same thing. He had just passed urine and he usually passed urine every 6 hours. So what are you going to do now? I said, not a problem. Just let me just stay here for the 8 o'clock. I can tell you something. You see, you ever sit down and want to pass urine and can't pass urine? You get up and stand up on your big toe, then you start to walk on your heel, and I am there laughing because I know him going to wet himself shortly. Because he passed urine from the night before. Give me this bogus story that I was going to leave after 1 hour because it's not 6 hours before him going to pass urine again. But just start there watch him squirming until I got the urine. They try everything. You just have to be off here of the different methods that they can use, as you are pointing out, to escape testing at a particular time and make sure that you get the sample.
Doc, it is quite interesting, man. But again, you just stir up a box of worm because you said that every athlete tries to
Once
gain
an
an advantage.
opportunity.
Because
Everyone, you champion.
whether you get a Stephen Francis as coach, whether you get the
Ah,
Eddie as the masseur, whether you
yes,
get
the new spikes that bolt get.
the new
You
spikes,
change the
whether whether
material that you run on, the surface that you run on.
the track
You
suit,
train
the
high
track
and run
suit that
low.
you wear,
You train
everything.
high, you train in the top of the mountain and compete on the ground. All that is advantage. So
Hmm.
everybody try to get an advantage over the other athlete. All right.
So whether it is by taking a substance or all of these other variables, everybody seeks an advantage.
Every just remember that every athlete wants an advantage over what the other athletes are doing in order to win. The basis of competition is not like when I was at school. Just by competing is good enough. The basis of competition now is to win, because winning is your future. You open up opportunities
And to
and all
earn.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's not competing, is it anymore? That is the old fashioned. That's when I had black hair. That is long time ago. All right.
So finally, Doc, do you believe from your years of experience in this field, do you believe that um Toby would have any inch or centimeter, millimeter of getting off this case based on other cases that occurred before?
Based on what occurs in before, it is 99.9% sure that there will be a sanction.
All right.
But there's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for her to explain herself.
But
Always an opportunity.
yeah.
All
But if
right.
the explanation don't suffice and then the athletes spend a lot of money for arbitration,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
just accept. Do you get a lesser sanction if you just roll with the punches and say,
Yes,
all
man.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
I am guilty.
You no, that is when now you go to the arbitration now, and the doping authorities can say, well, you made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You really had some trying times. Your mother died. Two dogs dead. This one and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, instead of the 3 months, we're going to give you half. We're going to give you 15 days or so. But you're going to
Yeah.
be sanctioned.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
But the severity of the sanction might be
It depends
lessened
on what happens in
based
that
on right,
arbitration hearing.
right,
All
right.
right.
All right, Doc. I really appreciate you coming on the show to explain all of these things to the track and field fans of Coach's Desk. Any final words that you'd like to share with the athletes so that they can know that this thing is a serious thing and don't play with your career?
Number one, be educated. When we were at Jadco doing it, we used to run these seminars in every parish as often as we can. But, and this is the but, the number one athletes in the country did not believe that they should attend these things because that me know it already. Okay? And I believe that those are the athletes that must attend these sessions where you update them on the thing that is thing. And if they miss two of these sessions, they're going to be sanctioned. They have to go and get treated repeatedly. That you cannot take this thing for granted. You cannot leave whereabouts to your party or your secretary or your one-time girlfriend. This don't work anymore. You have to be in control of your own whereabouts farm, and you have make sure that you are there when you say you are supposed to be there. If you can't be there, you give the authorities 24 hours notice.
All right. So there you have it, people. I definitely look forward to the responses in the comment section on this explanation from Dr. Paul Wright. This man is a guru. Yeah. This man is a sport guru, and it goes as far as horse racing. You never hear me yet. You need to check him
Well,
out.
cook food special. All right. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
Doc. Thank you very
Good.
much,
Okay,
and
good.
stay safe.
Thanks.
All right, people. So there you have it. I think whatever needed to be cleared up would have been cleared up. So based off what is happening, I do believe that the athletes have the upper hand, and they definitely are the ones who should be held accountable if they find themselves in this sort of situation. It is always sad when you don't have the best competing against each other for whatever reason, whether through injuries or situations like these. It is never a good thing. But whatever happened, you have to just do whatever you have to do in terms of serving your time. I hope that these athletes will get a lesser sanction, as Doc said. It's best if you just it's best if you just say, I made a mistake. Yeah? And move on so that they will not come down at you with the full length of the sanction. Share your comment in the comment section, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe. Peace out.